Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Unmask Yourself topic video. The topic we're going to cover today is grief. We'll go over what it is, the most common triggers, the different stages of it, how ignoring it can impact your life, and what you can start doing to deal with any recent or unresolved grief you might be experiencing right now. Experiencing grief is an integral part of the human experience. It's widely believed that to truly experience the depths of joy, gratitude, beauty, and peacefulness, you first need to experience grief. It's believed that this helps you develop your appreciation for the countless moments that bring positivity and happiness to your life that most people take for granted and overlook. So what is grief? Grief is an intense feeling of sadness, commonly experienced in response to some form of loss. The most common triggers for grief is the death of a loved one, including our pets of course, a divorce or separation, losing a job, or moving from a house, state or country that you have a strong connection to. Other things that can cause people to experience feelings of grief are things like an accident that alters your appearance or mobility, amputation of a body part that alters your way of living, and even damage or destruction of a valued possession. After any form of loss, there is a grieving period that needs to be expected. The duration of this is a completely individual experience. To give you a better understanding of grief and what is experienced during it, we'll go over the 5 stages of grief. Keep in mind that these stages aren't necessarily experienced in order and may be revisited during your period of grief. 1. Denial. This is when you are unable to accept what has happened and feel and behave like nothing has changed. 2. Anger. During the anger stage, most people look for someone to blame for what has happened and direct their pain and frustration at them. 3. Bargaining. During the bargaining phase, most people look to God, the universe, or a person directly involved in a situation, such as a boss that has fired you or a partner that has left you, to make a deal to bring back what has been lost. 4. Depression. The depression phase includes things like affected sleep patterns, increase or loss of appetite, and frequent feelings of sadness. 5. Acceptance. The acceptance phase is where you are able to come to terms with what has happened and are able to move past the pain. Even after reaching the acceptance phase, if things aren't completely resolved, you may find yourself re-experiencing the earlier phases until all things have been properly processed. Grief is an absolutely normal human response, but can be detrimental to your quality of life and mental health if not experienced effectively. So here are the 2 different kinds of grief so that you know what to expect and what to look for. Acute grief is what is experienced immediately after the event. This is a completely normal process we go through when we are processing what has happened and coming to terms with and accepting it into our current reality. As we process and accept what has happened, our grief gradually subsides over time. Complicated grief or prolonged grief disorder, on the other hand, is when you are unable to move through the grieving process in a healthy way after a period of 6 months or more. This is due to obsessive thinking and the overwhelming emotions that accompany your thoughts. Because of these thoughts and feelings, you are unable to accept what has happened and find yourself stuck in the pain and sadness of your grief. As a result, you are likely to detach from your life and relationships and lose meaning to your own existence while stuck in this state. This condition and state can be prolonged and amplified through maladaptive behaviours such as substance abuse and other avoidance or mood-altering activities. So now let's go through 5 steps to help support you through a healthy grieving process. 1. Accept what has happened. To begin moving through the grief process, first you need to completely accept the reality of what has happened. That the person or thing that you have lost is gone and you need to let go of what was. Then and only then can you start to navigate through your thoughts and feelings properly and get back to focusing on the reality of your life again. 2. Feel your feelings. It's important to let yourself experience your feelings no matter what they may be. Hiding from or trying to bury them usually just makes things worse. Don't be ashamed or scared of what you might feel. First accept it and then allow yourself to let it go. 3. Embrace change. It's important to understand and embrace that nothing stays the same forever. Change doesn't need to mean better or worse. It just means that it will be different and it will be what you make of it. Give yourself time to rebuild back up and create the next chapter in your life full of new and exciting experiences. 4. Practice gratitude. Be grateful for all of the positive things that whatever or whoever you have lost brought to your life while you were lucky enough to have them. And 5. Learn from your loss. Taking lessons from your grief can be an incredibly powerful tool in progressing as a person. If you experience thoughts and feelings of things that you know you could have done better before you lost what you did, then use it to change the way you do things in the future. You can't undo what has been done, so there is no point dwelling on it, but you can learn to do things differently, which is something you might not have learned without this loss. This process can be hard to face alone, so don't be afraid or too proud to ask for help. Anyone experiencing complicated or prolonged grief, I highly recommend you seek the advice of a professional. Your mental health and quality of life is important. It's not weak to ask for help, it's wise. So don't keep putting it off and thinking you need to do this alone. That's it for today's video. I hope this helps any of you out there experiencing grief get a better understanding of your thoughts and feelings and helps you to get through it all in a healthy and productive way. Thank you for watching and continuing to unmask yourself. Much love.